Sourdough Sam.
No, Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Sourdough Sam.
Sourdeath Sam.
Disrespect to Sourdeath Sam will not continue.
Damn, it's good to be back. It's good to be fucking back. So good. So good. What's up, guys? Sourdeath Sam. Happy to be here. And ladies and gentlemen, it's Thanksgiving week. Thanksgiving week. You know what that means. Eat that damn turkey. Argue with that damn relative. Drink responsibly. And for God's sake, let's watch some fucking football. You know what I'm saying? Let's watch some fucking football. Vibes, 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 vibes. Hell yeah. Cool. Haywire, thank you very much. I appreciate the compliment. Probably one of my favorite jackets I own. But enough about my jacket. Let's talk about what we just saw. We were hoping to go into this past week seeing another solid performance from Brock, a good defensive performance. We just wanted to see them build on it. And boy, did they fucking build on it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, Brock played out of his mind. And the defense ended up getting 4 sacks at the end of the game, right? I think we were all wondering where the sacks were. They were saving them for the holiday season. So I can appreciate that. What I will say is there is a matchup coming up tomorrow that many of us have gone through a lot of trauma experiencing, which is a Thanksgiving 49ers versus Seahawks matchup. There is a lot of PTSD that comes with that. I think a lot of us who were Jim Harbaugh fans and Colin Kaepernick fans of that whole team, Vernon Davis, you name it, the list goes on, Frank Gore. We had such high hopes going into Levi's Stadium. And when they were breaking bread on that turkey on that field, and we have the owner of our team sending out apology tweets, I don't think I've ever felt lower. Ever. One of the worst moments as a 49ers fan. It's up there with the fumble in the NFC Championship by Kyle Williams. So this game has a lot of pressure on it, but let's not get it twisted. I do think that the 49ers are a better team, but I think in order for all of us to get proper closure over the incident that occurred during that Thanksgiving, we have got to knock this out of the park. We need a convincing victory. I'll take any victory, but a convincing victory would be kind of nice. Brett Rumbeck, friend of the show, says his therapist calls this big T trauma.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Big T trauma. I mean, like the biggest T trauma. Again, it's like right the Kyle Williams fumble. Like that's the biggest T trauma. But just right below that is the Thanksgiving game tied into the Richard Sherman monologue when he was a Seahawk after he thwarted Michael Crabtree. Now, again, yeah, Haywire, right on the money, dude. I'll take any win, but I'm not going to lie. I'm already looking ahead to the Eagles. Hey, look, don't do that. Don't do that. One game at a time. I think we learned that lesson when we went on our 3-game losing streak. Right? I am over taking victories for granted. We have come too far to do that. And so my hope here is that at minimum, walk away with a victory, but it would really like settle my stomach if we walked away with an emphatic victory. Something that really just, like you just want to go on Twitter and just talk some shit. That's the kind of victory that I'm looking for.
Yes, sir.
So that's what we got coming up, and I'm excited about it. Speaking of what's coming up, we have a friend of the show coming on for the first time by the name of Ashley Ariana. Very excited to have her on. She started a show around the same time I did. It's been beautiful to see her blossom, do her thing, and very excited to talk some ball with her. Obviously, a great week to do so because we got some real deal high stakes trauma on the line, per usual. And no one knows trauma better than my friend Kyle 5000. So let's go ahead and bring him on. Kyle 5000, everybody. Kyle, happy Thanksgiving, man. What are you grateful for? I'm going to talk about what I'm grateful for later in the show, but I kind of want to hear from you. Because honestly, it doesn't kind of seem like you're grateful for anything sometimes. He's thinking. Kyle, don't fucking embarrass me in front of my friends. Kyle, what are you grateful for? He's such a fucking stubborn asshole sometimes. It's really disgusting. Well, guys, Kyle's being a piece of shit today. So that's over. So everyone, round of applause for Kyle. Never liked that guy. Paid like 3 Bitcoin, and all he does is let me down. Disgusting. Oh, dude. Do I have some fucking news for you? Your boy won a parlay. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Your boy finally won a fucking parlay. Let me put you on game, dude. I won $200 off a parlay. My first of the year. So let me tell you something. Number one, I'm a fucking genius. Number two, any advice I give you on this $5 pick'em, you're talking to a winner. So factor that in when you decide to make your decision or be a hater. Just saying. Here's my $5 pick'em for the week. Let me get this banner out of the way. It's like fucking cock blocking my vibes over here. I got Brian Robinson Jr. I got him going over 44.5 rushing yards. It is Dallas. It's tough defense, but he can do it if he puts his mind to it. Tua, I got him over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He can throw 2 touchdowns. I mean, fucking Tyreek Hill's probably going to catch 3 of them. DK Metcalf, yeah, I know he's Seahawks, sorry, but I have him going over 57.5 receiving yards. It is what it is. They're not going to win, but I do have that on my pick'em. Tyreek Hill, higher than 6 receptions. Yeah, brah. Come on. Christian McCaffrey, higher than 111.5 rushing and receiving yards. I think he could do it. Why not? I got $5 on the line. Plus, I'm a fucking genius. Let's give it a go.
Yes, sir.
If you want in on this action, brother, bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam. If you dare. If you think you are as much of a genius as I am, hey, give it a shot. I think it's possible that maybe one day you could be a winner like me. But enough of the gambling, man. Enough of the sports betting. We're in a holiday season. It's starting now. And this holiday season is about being grateful and what you give thanks for. And so I put together a little list of things that I'm grateful for. Isn't that nice? I do nice things every now and then. Like win $200 in a parlay. The first thing I'm grateful for is Brock Purdy. God, I fucking love Brock Purdy, man. He's so consistent. I mean, look, there were 3 games in a row that obviously were not so good. But look at the body of work from before that point, and look at the body of work since overcoming that adversity. Like, I hate to break it to the haters, but we got a fucking winner. And you need to accept that, okay? I mean, we by far the best quarterback we've had in the Kyle Shanahan era. Obviously, some bargain bin operations going on in there for the first couple of years, but better than Jimmy G, objectively. I'm really, really grateful for Brock Purdy because it feels like for the first time in a long time, we get to really see what Kyle's offense is supposed to look like. And he's got a little juice, baby. Like he can scramble. He's got a little wiggle, and he makes me feel safe, and I like that. Speaking of Kyle Shanahan, I'm grateful for his ass too. Look, Kyle 5000, different story. He's being a little stubborn today. He and I are gonna have a little chat. Not thankful, not grateful for Kyle 5000 right now, but the language model that Kyle 5000 was based off of, that being Kyle Shanahan, love him, bro. If you have not yet listened to the Play Callers podcast, just if you didn't already think Kyle Shanahan was a stud, you can just see that the trail of ducklings that is now making its way through the NFL coaching circles is rooted in his sort of tree. And put some respect on his name. Kyle Shanahan, I'm grateful. Christian McCaffrey. I'm a Christian man. I am a Christian enthusiast. Let me tell you something about CMC. All right. Didn't think it was possible. This type of player, this type of quality of run game and receiving out of the backfield. Sometimes I almost feel like we already take him for granted. Like it still feels like a dream that we have him. And it is no surprise to me the type of production he is giving us. It is exactly what you would have expected out of CMC if you were dreaming about him as a 49er. Super grateful, super grateful. Thank you, CMC. And now, for the most important thing that I'm grateful for in the whole entire world, bitch, it's you. I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for you because, first of all, it's fun conversation online. Let me talk to you face to face. I'm grateful for you because, first of all, the conversations, the people I've met, it's a blast. Look, life is fucking hard sometimes. We all have jobs, most likely. We all have things that bother us, things that make us feel depressed, things that stress us out. Some of us have large groups of friends in real life. Some of us may not have that same luxury. But no matter where you stand on things, being able to have a community of people online that even if there's just one thing you connect on, from there, it can blossom into many more facets of connection and relatability. And it's cool. I've met some of you in real life. I've been able to connect with you. Had a conversation with David Lichty in Minneapolis, and not once did we mention sports. It was all about life. It was all about family, things that I've picked up along the way, things that he's picked up along the way. I'm grateful for you guys. And quite honestly, there are days where I don't know if I want to do this show. And it's not for any other reason than a healthy blend of imposter syndrome and schedule being packed and responsibilities being shifted and being hangry and all that kind of shit. But I'm grateful for you. You're a big reason why I like to come on and do this stuff. It's you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Randy Daytona gave me that emoji. I got the hands up from Real Team Me. Appreciate you. And Haywire, he just says you, Randy. I don't know if he's saying that in an Austin Powers sense, or if he's saying that like to actually Randy Daytona, who said me. I presume it was. I presume it was that. So speaking of people I'm grateful for, I have someone I'm super grateful for who is ready to talk shop with me right now. And I would like to welcome the illustrious Ashley Ariana. Let me bring her on right now. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is. Hello.
I want to do like boo things. I like those.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
You know what time it is. So good to have you on. How are you doing?
I'm so happy to be on. You don't know how excited I am that you reached out to me and how long I was waiting. I was like, it will be my turn eventually.
Oh yeah. I was playing hard to get. You know, like you're shooting up the charts. I got to make sure I play it cool. All right. If I'm too desperate, all that, it's bad news bears. But very glad to have you on. Very excited. We started our shows around the same time. It's been amazing to see you kind of blow up and do your thing, and just stoked for you. I know, what's beautiful about doing this stuff is sometimes it's a beautiful outlet to just sort of like let go and dive into something and just like put the world aside and just be in the thick of a sport and a team that you love. So I'm speaking from my own experience, but it's been cool to see you kind of dive in and do your thing as well.
Thank you so much. I know when you were talking about is it echoing just for me?
Oh, that's my bad.
That's
Hold on.
my bad.
No,
It's okay.
hold on. It's my bad. Give me 1 second.
While you're figuring this out, your eyes are like piercing. By the way.
Thank you. I didn't tell her to say that. Okay.
I was gonna say I really relate to everything you were saying in the beginning about being really thankful for everyone who watches, and also the imposter syndrome, and just literally everything you said. I was like, it's really touching.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think one of the challenging things about doing this is that, and honestly, this happens in any career, is when you start, you're in the shadow of people who have more experience, more knowledge, just more intellect on how to perform whatever career it is that you're doing. I came from the film industry, and it is so intimidating to go on a film set, and you're looking at people who've been there for 10, 15 years. They know how to assemble, disassemble a camera rig with, all the bells and whistles in like 15 seconds. And you're standing there as like a 20-something-year-old, like, I don't want to screw it up. Like, there's like $1 million in this production. So like, it's really real. Like it can honestly be intimidating.
You can't. But I'm excited to be. It's nice how, at least within this community, how supportive I found so many, like 99.9% of people to be. Way more than I ever expected when I first joined. I think I was thinking about doing something like this for a while, but was like, oh, I'm just like not prepared. I don't have the right equipment. I don't even know what I would talk about or if I'd be good at it or anything. I had a lot of doubts, and I had a friend who kind of pushed me just to do it anyways. And I'm so glad that I finally did, because I just like could never have understood how many people would be like so supportive of it. Even when I feel like I'm like, this is not something that lives up to like the maybe standard that I want to be putting out, and they're still like just really, really kind about it. So it's really nice. It makes you want to come back and do it again. Like when you said Randy's name, he's been in my chat before. It's like cool when you start to notice the same people and stuff. I don't know. I really like that.
Yeah, no, totally. And Randy's a friend of the show, so definitely shout out to him. He's managed to be there for both of us, which is the mark of a good friend, truly, is that kind of behavior. So one last thing before we dive in, I think it's amazing as well, just sort of the opportunities you've had for collaboration. I know you're working with Crocky. He's amazing. And just real quick before we dive in, just like, how has this been sort of launching your show, and sort of what gets you up to do it all over again?
How's it been? It's been good. I kind of like I had like a I'd been wanting to do it for a while, and then I had like a life change. Something happened, and I felt like there was just momentum. If that makes like I don't know, it seemed like a good time to like really dive into a hobby or passion project, if that makes
Totally.
sense.
Yeah.
Just to like divert my energy into something that I felt like if I stuck to it, even if it wasn't like successful in terms of like bigger other channels. If it was just something that I did every day and I was able to talk, because I watch everyone's show and I talk on Twitter with everyone and I'm interested in the sport and I really talk with my dad about football, but like a lot of my regular friends aren't really into football. So I was like, if I could just have people that I could talk to, and I knew that for me, if I had something that I had to like show up aside from work, because I think that work can be for a lot of people, it can get kind of like mundane or tedious. So I just felt like if I had something that I was really excited about, that I wanted to like get ready for, that I had kind of had to prepare for. I mean, I was already like consuming a lot of content, watching the games, but I just felt like it would make me feel proud of myself if I like actually committed to doing something that I had said for a while, like, oh, it'd be fun to do, but never like took in a serious way. And not that I take it, super serious now, but I definitely like try to not go like 2 days in a row without streaming or something like that, just because I know that I feel better when I'm like showing up for it makes me feel like
Totally.
I'm showing up for myself, like I'm doing something. I used to be, and I'm still into fitness, but kind of like that. Like I just wanted something that wasn't work and wasn't, I think a lot of people feel like it's a waste of time to like spend energy on something that like maybe you're not making money off of or not like, isn't working out or something like that. I've always done that. Like I've always felt like I need to be really productive, and it just was important to me to do something to make me feel good about myself that wasn't one of those two things. And
Totally.
it's really weird. I think that's why I keep doing it, because it really does make me feel good about myself, even though it's like really trivial, and I like kind of get in my head and I'll like look at numbers and I'll be like like 3 people watch this video, like whatever, like, but
Oh,
so
believe
you
me,
can
I
have like
know. Yeah.
you can have all those thoughts, but I feel like I don't know why it makes me feel good. It makes me feel proud of myself to like do something that I thought that I always like was like, oh, I should do that, but thought that I would never actually do because it seemed silly and like, you know, a waste of time or like wouldn't be productive for me to do. I'm glad that I did it, and it makes me feel good to continue to do it. So that's why I keep
Yeah,
doing it for now.
it's definitely a cathartic exercise, and I think putting the blinders on towards the numbers. I mean, obviously paying attention, but making sure you're kind of doing it for you and in finding your own pocket as opposed to trying to mold yourself into something that you think is a number chaser getter of a show.
Yeah.
I think is it is what it is. So enough of
It's also been cool for me. Like, this is also side note because it's like backgroundy
yeah.
things, but I'm not a technology person. Like, I don't know how I got through college. I like, if my computer doesn't work, I like unplug it from the wall and I like throw it, and I'm like, hopefully that'll fix it. Like, sometimes my phone, like, I'll just like hit my phone.
That's what I
So,
do with the
like,
controller when I
literally,
lose a Madden.
like, I mean, you're obviously so extremely talented when it comes to technology, but like for me, literally learning like how to like Google like StreamYard and then like download that onto my computer was like a challenge. Like, it's so funny that the little like the most trivial things, it really did like make me feel good about myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I learned how to like use Canva. Like I just like downloaded an app, which I know like everyone in the world has done, but I like, I don't know, I've always had like outsourced those things. I've always like had my friends do these things for me, and like just been like, oh, this is like not something I know how to do. So like really basic things that now that I know how to do, I'm like, okay, that's hilarious that like I think I like when I tried to learn how to do that, like cried for like a day because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But it's just all these small little things that yeah, they like it gave me like some pride in myself. Like, oh, like I was able to figure that out. That's cool.
Yeah, just little victories that stack to a bigger W. And, that's
Which
what
is
it's
what
all
the
about.
49ers are trying to do, baby.
Which is what fucking Brock Purdy is doing, baby. Guess who's Brock again? Ladies and gentlemen, Brock Purdy throws for 3 touchdowns, 333 passing yards, going 21 for 25 in a 27-14 victory against the Buccaneers. When you were watching this game and you saw Brock Purdy light it up once more, what impression are you walking away with?
I love how well he was able to navigate kind of a shaky offensive line. That was like one of the first things I noticed throughout the entire game. I felt like I feel like the more I watch him, the more I'm impressed with his physical attributes, if that makes sense. Like, I think right when he walked in, where everyone was kind of like, oh, his leadership, like his mental game, like his ability to kind of like carry himself, like, he's not the last pick in the draft is so impressive. But I feel like this year, the narratives that he's been, kind of changing, at least in the way that I view him, and maybe I'm influenced by other people that I watch, but it's kind of like, no, like he's actually really talented, like physically, like he's doing like everything that I maybe expected him not to be able to do. And he's also carrying around that mental side and like being an excellent leader and inspiring the people around him. But I don't know. I think he's so fun to watch. He makes the offense really, really fun to watch. I love how he distributes the football. I love how he runs around. I like his energy. I like his attitude. It's fun to have a quarterback like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think his ability to hit the eject button when he sees an opportunity and the throwing windows aren't there was probably one of the more impressive things that I began to see in him. We started seeing it last year, but it's consistently appeared in the tape, and it's really, really beautiful to see, because I think when we had brought Trey Lance in, we were expecting that kind of escapability. Now, does Brock have the escapability that Trey Lance may have? They're different physical tool sets, but the instincts of knowing when to escape and where to escape is what helps him move the chains, even though he's not the fastest guy on the field. And his efficiency, like whenever I describe Brock on the show, like it's kind of a joke that I say all the time, but it's kind of fucking true. Like I feel safe in his arms. Like
I love that.
I trust him. Like even though he has guns, and that's the thing, is I trust him even though he has gunslinger tendencies.
I love that.
Like he's not just the safest quarterback, and you see it on film. Like he does not just take the check down. He's willing to bet on the second level to say, "Ooh, I could hit CMC here, but if I if I dart this to Ayuk and I hit it where I need to hit it, this is 10 to 15 more yards, maybe even a house call." And that Kyle loves it too. I mean, he's mentioned it in press conferences, effectively shading Jimmy in the process.
Yeah.
But I have been really, really impressed, not only with the past 2 games, but with the past 2 games being the back-to-back answer to the 3 losses that happened, which, by the way, I've said it before, like I've seen Brock play prettier games than those 3 losses, but I've seen quarterbacks play a hell of a lot worse in losses. Sure. So it is what it is. You can't strike the L's off the record, but the back-to-back performances of 3 touchdowns has been really convincing in ways that have totally impressed me and have begun to reignite the national conversation in a way that I think is completely fair.
Yeah. I like that you like made a distinction about that too. Like he had a slump and like was able to come back and respond, right? Because people are kind of that's kind of like macro of what maybe people are wondering right now is like, okay, if he's down in one single game, can he come back and respond in a fourth quarter? And what you're kind of noticing is like on a more macro level, he can be down for multiple games and fire back and not let that like because if a quality of Brock that has been so special is his like confidence, it is fair to question when you've won every game. Okay, do you keep this level of pride and confidence within yourself when my sister just walked in the room? Hey, Lon.
Tell her I say hello.
They say hello. Sorry, she was staring at me really weird, so I just felt like I should address the fact that she was there. But gotta love the holidays. Sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah, no, it's all good. All good.
I have been I really liked that you pointed out that within that I like that you pointed out that those games came after
The
kind of
losses.
really bad mistakes where he could have potentially like lost all his confidence and started floundering and maybe like what I feel like some people, I don't know if hope for, worry about is the right term, but like I think people are kind of like, when is it going to turn for Brock and he's just going to become this egg that we all thought he was, And
Yeah.
I like that that wasn't something that held up long term.
So he officially has like a rookie season's worth of games, and I just wonder, right, if you could take the tape of all of the quarterbacks drafted in the sort of Trey Lance year. So, you're talking about Justin Fields and Mac Jones and all those folks, and you brought the Brock Purdy tape and you put them down and you said, this is the NFL tape. I'm from the future. Who do you want with the first round pick? I mean, Trevor Lawrence has a lot of talent, and let's not put him in a position where he is a victim
Circumstance.
of circumstance. Correct. But it's 1 and 2, and GMs are going to have a long conversation about the tape. And obviously, there are a lot of quarterbacks who were taken high who would effectively be maybe Mr. Irrelevant. And what's interesting to see is like when I reflect on this sort of hypothetical situation, which, by the way, people fucking love hypothetical situations when it comes to Brock. They want to find any way to say, well, we have a full season's worth of data, but what if he was trash? So like let's take the inverse here. Now that you know what you know and we've seen what we've seen, under what circumstance would he not be a high pick? And if he was a high pick, let me tell you something. If we drafted him, if we spent the capital to get Brock Purdy that we had spent Trey Lance, love him, hope he does well, but just saying, if we spent the same draft capital to get Purdy and he put up the results he's been putting up, we would all be looking at each other like we fucking hit.
Yeah. 1,000%. That was my take before the Jags game with Trevor Lawrence, is if because people kind of talk about it not being enough time or there not being enough sample size or whatever. If like Trevor Lawrence was Brock Purdy, I feel like the narrative would be total, like people would be like, he's an MVP, like this is why he was picked so high. I think a lot of questions about him are because of his draft, which is it's kind of interesting how long that stays with you, but I guess that's happened with a lot of people who are drafted kind of late. I mean, even with Dak Prescott, who wasn't, drafted last, but I think he dealt with a lot of that criticism. Obviously, mentioning someone like Tom Brady is hard to do because I'm not trying to compare them. I'm just saying,
Right.
I think those quarterbacks have to spend a lot more time solidifying like this is the player that I am. And when we're talking about like who would be drafted first, and obviously maybe like because of the situation he's in, I think that kind of changes how you play, right? Because you learn, okay, my offensive line isn't going to block, my receiver might not get open, whatever. Like, I think you might change the way you play depending on how long you've played in a certain team with a certain level of talent. But right now, just watching the two of them play in the same game, I was more impressed with Brock Purdy than I was Trevor Lawrence because of what you were saying before. More mentality wise, I felt like Trevor Lawrence wasn't taking a lot of chances and opportunities down the field. I felt like he was doing a lot of screens, a lot of dump off passes, things that if it was the opposite and Purdy was doing it, people would be like, oh, well, all he does is dump it off and screen. Like, he's not even, like, I think Trevor Lawrence has the talent to do that, but is he in a place where he's confident enough to utilize his talents? And if he's not, like, utilizing them and Purdy's utilizing them, but maybe not as not as, like, gifted, but still able to do something similar, isn't that kind of just as good? Because what you should be judging is the outcome, right? Not, like, what the potential could be. I don't know. I guess a lot of what people do is judge the potential. But for right now on the 49ers, I feel like all they need to worry about is like this year. And I don't really understand the argument of wondering if Brock Purdy is going to be like I think a lot of people are having this conversation too prematurely, as if the 49ers are about to pay him $7 bajillion tomorrow.
Right.
Like, they're not. So what we should be talking about is this rookie kid is like playing like a top 10 level player and is very effective and could potentially help the 49ers win a Super Bowl on an amazing team with an amazing coach.
And what's fascinating is Brock has an opportunity to make, by the way, a second playoff appearance in 2 seasons.
Yeah, like he balled out in the playoffs last year. I
And
don't
he
know.
has a
I'm kind of
chance.
saying this to myself too, because
Yeah,
I've doubted. I've been a Purdy hater, so I'm not,
it,
judging anyone.
it's okay. The first step is acknowledging it. To being a Purdy recovering. I will say he has a really beautiful opportunity. I feel very strongly this team will make the playoffs, and how he executes in those games will probably contribute more to his contract conversations than any of the games prior. If he gets you to a Super Bowl and you don't pay him the next year, even if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, if he gets you to a Super Bowl, hell, perhaps even if he gets you to an NFC championship, you do not want to go back to that locker room again and say, yeah, we had a quarterback who took us to the Super Bowl, but we can get someone better. Like, you don't want to have that conversation again. So the only answer then is to either pay him or get someone in free agency who you think can contribute the same.
Right
but
away.
but to risk the locker room as a part of that, first of all, a lot of these folks in our Super Bowl window roster are towards the tail end of the window.
Yeah. They're not like trying to start over.
They're not trying to start over. So it will be in Brock's best interest to ball the F out in these playoffs. Not just win the game, but win the game with authority, with his arm. Even if the defense says, we dare you to throw it, Brock Purdy. Because if he does that, it gives his agent and him maximum leverage to go into the room with John Lynch and say, you don't have much wiggle room here. Because every test you put him through, he delivered. And unless you want another QB to come in and another QB carousel conversation to dominate your headlines, we will get this contract done swiftly. I would have to imagine that is likely why they saved a few pennies in our budget to carry over to next season. I would like to believe that. But we also have Ayuk to cover, which is going to be its own question mark. And real quick, shout out Brandon Ayuk. 5 receptions, but for 156 yards and a touchdown. Balling out. And very, 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 very happy for him. Any last thoughts on Brock before we shift topics here?
I think just when you brought up Brandon Ayuk, I think when you talk about the players, like he's optimizing this offense and he's making these guys look even better, in my opinion. Like he's taking advantage and giving George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk opportunities that we as fans hoped and kind of hypothesized were there. Like we'd have film guys like Jordan Elliott or Rich Madrid kind of posting it and be like, these opportunities, like Kyle's scheming it up. We're just not taking advantage of it. But, as a fan, you kind of see that and you're like, all right, well, we're not seeing it. And I think that's what's made, whether, win or loss, what's made it so fun to watch this year and last year when he first came in as a fan is just kind of being like, wow, like it's so much more expansive than we thought it was. And even Kyle Shanahan talked about that in his latest press conference yesterday. Someone asked him, like, our defense is playing you differently, like, is more of the field open? And he was like, yeah, there is. And he kind of shaded Jimmy in that same response where he was like, I'm not calling, it's not that I all of a sudden trust, Brock differently and I'm calling different plays. These have always been there. He's just taking advantage of it. And I like that Brock Purdy, I love the warm embrace, gunslinger, but also safe. Because he's not too safe where it's like frustrating. Like I like that he made the throw to Brandon Ayuk, and I like that he walked in to the press conference and was like, that was a bad move. And I like that before that, he had a whole losing streak where he was like, I gotta stop doing that. And then he walked into the game and on a first down, he did it again. And I like that he'll do it again. Like I like that in his brain. I think any quarterback who makes it to the NFL has it in their brain that they can make that play. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if it's stupid. It doesn't matter whatever. In order to get that far, you have to have that confidence in yourself that you're like, I can do that. And I think that gets beat out of you as you learn what you can and cannot do. And I kind of think it's cool that we have a quarterback right now that still thinks he can do that.
Yeah,
And it's
no,
not so reckless that it's like, and he's fun to watch, but you wouldn't want him to be your quarterback. It's not like Jameis Winston, where you're like, I'm watching a car accident. It's still like safe enough, but he has like enough confidence that it's like, I don't know. I love the balance of it.
Yeah, no, he's like he's just a clever poker player. Like he plays the hands he knows he needs to play, and then he'll trust his gut if he thinks he wants to take a risk. And if the risk doesn't pay off, he's not afraid to just keep gambling. And speaking of gambling, bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam. Sorry, I had to plug my shit. All right, let's talk about. First of all, let me check. Do I gamble? Not. Well, I play poker. I like to think of myself as I like to play cards, but I sometimes like slots. Slots are kind of shitty. They're like engineered to make you lose. But I'm blessed because I have that trigger in my brain where like if I lose some money quickly, and I'm not like, oh, I need to go again. My brain's like, well, tonight's not your night. Like, and then I walk away. So
I like that. Good job.
Very, very happy. Thank you, God, for that mechanism. Let's see. SDS doesn't gamble. He just wins. Yeah. Well, you know what? $200 in my parlay. Holla at your boy. All right. Sacks on sacks. 49ers leave the game with 4 sacks and a matchup against the Buccaneers. We were able to put them to the ground, and all the games where the 49ers can authoritatively dominate their opponent always starts on the defensive line, and we're beginning to see it emerge. This is the second game where we're seeing sacks from Chase Young and Nick Bosa, and it's beautiful because we're starting to see not only this tandem partnership blossom, but we're starting to see this defense kind of kick into a gear that can quiet the noise a little bit as far as all the criticism. Based on the past few games after this 3-game losing streak, what have you seen that has impressed you?
Hey, I love the way that they're working in tandem, like you just said. I think the addition of Chase Young has opened up Bosa to like actually get home, which has been really nice. But I think what it and I was listening to Fred Warner's podcast, and he talked a lot about this. I wonder if a huge difference is just the effort and the energy that they're playing with, like when you're watching them. I feel like when it comes to the losing streak, like you said, I do a show with Crocker, and he was always like, except for the Bengals game, he was like, they're really not giving up that many points, so I don't understand the criticism. And I was like, I think it's just the eye test. I think when you're watching them as a 49ers fan under the Kyle Shanahan regime, and even Hardball before him, like you're used to this physicality. You're used to these like, just super physical guys who look like they're just on fire and ready to like kill someone and attack, and like there's no hesitation. We kind of, when we talk about Brandon Ayuk in the doghouse, I think there was a rumor it was because he was hesitant in practice, and so you really know that physicality is like drilled into them. And I think that that's what made it so confusing during that low streak, is it just looked like they were like slow and tired and not going all out, and you were just like, this is not the 49ers team that we know. And I think when they came back out of that bye week, that it didn't matter to me the numbers. It was just watching it, they were like 100,000%. And I think like on all levels, but especially the defensive line. Armstead is someone like I'm not super keyed on the interior defensive line at all times, but like the TV will slow down and like show him, which is impressive. And like you just see the like speed at which they're getting out the ball, and you see like it's kind of fun to see how the sacks happen, because I feel like since the bye week at least, it's like usually whoever has gotten the sack is not the person, like they all end up getting them, so I think it evens out, but it's usually not the person who like should get it. They're just like kind of pushing them into someone else's arms, which has been really cool to see.
Totally,
like
the
all like
pressure will pinball them.
yeah. I don't know. I just loved it because I think, when you think about the Bengals game and even Kirk Cousins, because they were even getting pressures then, right? But like the pressure wasn't effective, and it was just like frustrating because you were like, okay, like they're in his face, but he's still accurately throwing the ball to the guy and getting a first down. So like, what is happening? And like, why are you not getting home? And then just I don't know, you haven't seen that, and I'm glad that they were able to like. I'm glad it wasn't like we came out of the bye week, we rested, and we saved up all this energy, and we had to prove our point, and then you saw like a letdown. Like you did, there was no letdown at all in this latest game, and I feel like the leaders on this team weren't gonna allow that to like be their I think they understand what their standard is, and whether or not the points or whatever they were getting. I think that they want to bring that same like what was it last year the teams always lost after playing the 49ers. I think they
Oh yeah,
take
yeah,
pride in stuff
exactly.
like that, I think they want to like instill punishment, and they want to be known as that team. So I
And,
just think just when you say what stands out to me, I think just eye test wise they just look like the 49ers. That like when I saw them coming out of the bye week, I was like, oh, this is the team we know, you know.
yeah, no, totally. I mean, the energy thing is is so on point. And Croc has a point. I on one of my shows, I actually pulled up sort of where we were in 2022 at that point and where we were in 2023 at that point. And as far as the pass rush grade on PFF, 2023, we were doing better. We were doing better in interceptions. We were doing better in the pass rush win rate. Where we were short, we were very high on QB hurries, but and QB hits, but where we were short was sacks. So in almost in most of the measurable relevant categories of defense, we were outperforming 2022. But there were two factors there. One was that occasionally, that like at the end of the second quarter against the Vikings, we would allow the Vikings to hit very big plays that ended up being points on the board. And then the other thing is that because we weren't getting the sacks, like the hits and the hurries, that's all good. But it's not until that quarterback hits the dirt that it really feels like that statement is really being delivered. Now, again, the points against, he's right. But the common denominator that I have seen in the games where, and we all know what I'm talking about, when the opposing team is demoralized, where we watch them effectively quit right before our eyes, where the
Yeah.
offensive line for the Jacksonville Jaguars say, we don't even know what we're doing. Those games come when the defensive line is so dominant that they can't breathe. And all they're doing is they're trying to hold on for dear life on the offensive line. And the quarterback is praying to God that
You
his
see the
disrupted
quarterback like so flustered before the
totally.
ball's even snapped. I'm not even talking about like pressure. I'm just they they like get you like after a couple quarters. They're like, dude, like you can see it on their face when the 49ers are instilling their will for sure.
Yep, 100%. And so it's exciting to see. But one thing that was not exciting to see was Hufanga going down. Quite a huff pill to swallow, if I say so myself. Can Jair fill his
Don't
shoes?
don't make I'm like making a sad face, and then you're making me laugh.
I gotta do what I gotta do, man. It's showbiz. Respect to Hufanga. I mean, let's be real. He, in so many ways, it was almost the running joke. It was like, who's the first person on the field in training camp? Fucking Hufanga again.
Yep. Yep.
It's one thing that he was so good at was just being present and being a leader on this team from day one. And his loss is felt not only in the stats department, it's felt in the spirit of our defense.
Yeah.
So we now have our
Which we just talked about is so important.
right.
Like we
Exactly.
literally talked about, okay, why did the defense change? And like my thing was like, oh, energy.
Totally. And let's not get it twisted. Fred Warner is like is a compound of nuclear energy in and of himself. But because you're certainly not going to get the rah-rah energy from Nick Bosa, as violent as he is. It's going to come from Fred Warner. But we have Jair Brown, and he's a kid that's been showing promise. And all things considered, for the position he was thrown into at the end of the game, Not freaking bad. How big of a loss do you think this is? And do you think our defense starts to leak in a way that causes grave concerns?
Interesting. I loved the story arc of Jair Brown in that game because he comes in, immediately gives up a giant play. You're like,
Oh
this
boy.
is why the 49ers aren't playing him. Oh shoot. What are we going to do? Hopefully, because this is prior to knowing what's going on with Hufanga. Hopefully, Hufanga's it's not a bad injury. This is going to be scary. We got to squeak through this game. And then as the game goes on, 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, he he gives a pass breakup. And to me, the 49ers on both sides of the ball kind of took their foot off the brake gas, that's the right word,
Yep.
in that fourth quarter. And so then you see him and he makes a giant stop and you're like, okay, that's good for him. Like, I was like, all right, he needs that, because I think it was Jalen Ramsey. Everyone has a podcast nowadays. But last year, um, last year, a fan or someone asked Jalen Ramsey on his podcast, like, what makes you so good? Obviously, Jalen Ramsey's extremely physically talented. He's been doing this there's a number of things. But he chose to talk about confidence and how he believes when he sees a ball and he's on the field, he believes it's his ball, not the receiver's ball. And he believes he can make any play. He believes he can run with any receiver. He can trick any quarterback with his eyes. It's all about his confidence. And it's all about when he gives up a giant play and the whole internet is making fun of him looking at that and going, they're making fun of me because I'm so good that when I make a bad play, it's a big deal.
Right.
And so when I saw in that first good play that Jair Brown made, I'm like, okay, that's perfect because he needs, like, this is his first game action. Steve Wilkes is judging him. He's in his head, like, maybe he's not, but I'm thinking if I'm putting myself in Jair Brown's head, So I'm thinking, do these coaches trust me? Like, they've given up a lot for me. I'm finally getting my opportunity. I come in, I give up a giant play. So he breaks up a play. So I'm like, awesome, that's great. Gives the ball back to the offense. Offense has decided to check out, so they do nothing with it. They go back down. Bucks walk down the field. And the whole game, even though like the 49ers were winning by 2 touchdowns, the Bucks were like almost in position to make it a game.
100%.
And so like as a fan, you're kind of watching and you're kind of nervous, which is kind of weird because there's like a good enough point discrepancy, but you're like, it's not like far enough away where it's like you're totally like kind of checked out of the game. And so then 3 minutes left, and that's when he makes the interception. And I'm not saying it's like the hardest interception ever. It kind of went right to him. But just, I felt like when I saw that, I was like, that's so cool for him. That's
confidence
so
builder
cool that
as well.
that's how like his, for his confidence and for like, that's so cool that that's how his first game went. Because you imagine that going into practice and going into that next game, he now in his head is like, I can do that. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So I think I'm hopeful that the defense doesn't take a big hit. I think, and I'm not an expert on secondary play or anything, but I felt like Hufanga wasn't having as great of a year as he did last year. I still think he's amazing. Still prayers up to him. I'm not trying to talk bad about him while he's hurt. I hope he has a speedy recovery and comes back better than ever. But I'm hopeful that there's not a giant drop off. Now I'm also realistic in the fact that he is a rookie and potentially there's going to be like growing pains, even though maybe we saw less tackles from Hufanga. I think that Chris Roscoe on Twitter was kind of telling me that he's been like really good in coverage and like kind of scaring people from throwing at him as much. So I imagine that people are really going to test Jair Brown because they're going to see that as an opportunity to try to like at least go after him for a little while. So I'm not like smooth sailing, not nervous about it, but I'm also, so far, it's only been one game, I don't know, next game he could completely suck, but so far I'm not like, oh, this is going to be the worst thing ever and it's going to like lose them a chance to win a Super Bowl. Like I still think, hey, potentially, this guy has a lot of traits very similar to Hufanga. So if he plays up to his best, it could be no drop off at all, or it could be even good. Or if he kind of has some rookie struggles, hopefully the rest of the defensive line can do well around him, or defense as a whole can do well around him. I'm not freaking out about it.
Yeah,
is my final answer.
I think what will be interesting is on a short week, knowing that he is likely going to be targeted, how does he respond? And how does he perform under that pressure and under that type of target scrutiny? What will be amazing is if he shuts that plan down with authority. Now, even if he shuts it down just well enough to get by, that's all we need to see. But I don't know if we're going to be hemorrhaging yards here. I do think that we have not seen him be put to the test like we will tomorrow, which is crazy that there's a game tomorrow. But there is, and it's a very big one. It gives me a lot of trauma thinking about. So my therapist says I should talk about it, so let's talk about it. 49ers versus Seahawks. Last topic of the night. What's its name?
This is Tiger. Sorry, everyone is here in my house for the holidays. So my sister is just making an entrance. This cat just walked in my room.
Yeah, could you leave for a second and me and Tiger just talk? What's your Twitter handle? How do you think Jair Brown is going to perform under the pressure of being targeted relentlessly? Cat of a few words. I like it. Tiger is huge, says Randy Daytona.
He is.
So we got
way too much.
What's that?
My mom feeds him way too much.
Oh, dude.
All of our cats are gonna have diabetes.
When they're
She's
just
like,
sweet
they
little
like
babies.
complain and they're like, meow, and she's like, oh, I gotta give him 7 cans of cat food. I'm like, that's.
Oh, and they know what time it is, dude. I try that all the time. It doesn't work, dude. Like my girlfriend's just like, stop meowing at me. I'm not gonna feed you. So we got a game tomorrow, 49ers versus Seahawks. Obviously, a lot is on the line. Not only are we finally pulling away in the NFC West, we want to keep it that way. We have a lot of pride at stake. We have a lot of trauma involved. What are the keys to look for in this game?
I'm gonna be interested in the defensive line getting pressure on Geno Smith, because Geno Smith has an injury right now. He did go back in the game last week, but I feel
Short
like
week.
they were able to, a short week, but they were able to really rattle it. When we talk about quarterbacks being rattled last year, they were really able to rattle Geno Smith, cause some interceptions. So I'm interested in seeing this defensive line get home. Nick Bosa, Chase Young, their brotherhood, racing to the quarterback, going in. Fred Warner playing his little mind games. I always find the tidbit where he says during the national anthem he tries to stare down the quarterback. I love that for him. So I think it'll be a big defensive game. I hope that they do what they've been doing on offense and continue to spread the ball around. I hope that Kittle gets touches more, and I think George Kittle needs more than 5 touches every game. I don't think that should even be a controversial statement. Brandon Ayuk continuing to show out. I think as long as Brock Purdy takes care of the football, takes smart chances as we talked about, I don't know. I feel really confident going into it, but I'm scared about feeling confident because you want to set your expectations low. Unfortunately my expectations are really high. I'm pretty like we're gonna win, obviously. Right. Like in my head, like there's like a voice that's like, don't say that out loud, but like the voice in my head is like kind of like I'm rolling my eyes. Like I'm like,
you know what I think is important to also keep in mind is like we as fans have just vivid, sharp, fever dream memories of our matchups against Seattle. Russell Wilson was the problem. There are no leftovers on this team. The only leftover is Jed York, effectively. I mean, we have a team of people who didn't experience it, don't care, are on a completely different timeline. They don't see them as the boogeyman at all. Right, exactly. And so now we're in a position where we have more existential panic than the players do, and truthfully, we're a more talented team. What we need to see is consistency. We need Brock Purdy. He doesn't need to put up another 300. It'd be nice if he puts up another 300 performance, but he doesn't need to put up 300 yards again. It would be nice for us to dominate on the ground, frankly, because that is a tremendous way to assert our dominance and be able to open up the pass plays to hit them on debilitating shots that can get to the end zone. I do think that it will be important for us to in the absence of their starting running back, who is doubtful. We'll see. Kenneth Walker
with an oblique injury, right?
Right. So doubtful is kind of slang for it's not going to happen. So I would presume that we are up against Charbonnet. I think that's how you say his last name. Not a bad player, but we need to shut it down, because if we can make that offense one-dimensional, we can solve a lot of problems that we might have if we aren't sure where this is going to go in either direction. So shutting down the run game, I think, will be really helpful. I think Jair Brown is going to have a gut check game where he's really going to need to take the opportunities in which he's targeted and turn them into disadvantageous decisions or plays, or at minimum pass breakups. And I just want us to be able to execute on the defensive line. I am more concerned about our defensive line being dominant than I am about Brock Purdy throwing another 333 yards. Because I know that, again, if we can rock Geno to a point where he feels like his timing's off, his rhythm's off, he's not feeling so good, he just kind of wants to go home and wrap things up.
He'll start giving it up.
Right. Then we get into that demoralize the offense territory, and that's what's really going to get us the victory. And I nothing would make me happier, nothing would make my gut settle in nicer than just eating turkey on that field. It would be such sweet revenge, and it's all I can think about.
I think it's gonna happen. I think you're right. I guess there's like a couple areas like potentially if DK went off against against Charvarius Ward or something. I think the talent discrepancy is too high right now. And I'm not saying that's going to be like that forever, but I just think right now, if the 49ers play, I think especially, I think a lot of this has been a conversation is like the 49ers can only win one way type of thing. But I think they can win that way against the Seahawks. Like, I think it'll be kind of easy for their defensive line to hold the Seahawks, or for the 49ers defensive line to hold the Seahawks for a little bit, for the 49ers to walk down, score a touchdown, be able to run, be able to contain their run decently enough, fluster Geno Smith. He'll throw a couple of errant passes because I feel like he's kind of prone to do that when he feels like he's behind and needs to make a play. He's one of those guys that will give it up if he wants to. I don't know. And right now the 49ers are leading the league in interceptions. I don't know. I see this being a fairly clean game by the 49ers, and I feel like Geno Smith is going to try to keep the Seahawks in it, and it could be. I can't super draw a game plan for the Seahawks to win right now. But,
and the one last point I'll end on, and then we'll get to affirmations, which beautiful segment. So glad you're going to be there.
So excited. I'm so excited. I do affirmations in the morning. This is my shit.
Oh,
I'm so excited. Yeah.
Well,
I write them.
You're already.
I say them in a mirror. I do a hand thing. I do a hand. It's crazy. I'm into it.
I'm expecting a solid affirmations performance from you. But the one point I want to leave with on the Seahawks game, and I think this is really important because I've seen 49ers games get derailed when we commit too many penalties.
Yeah, you're right.
If we want to win this game, not only do we need to play a really clean game as far as not committing penalties, it might be nice to kind of bait them into penalties. DK Metcalf, wild card, dude.
Yeah, he could be pro. Get him pissed off.
You see him make dumb, stupid mistakes like that all the time.
Yeah.
So bait him into it. Find ways to effectively. I don't want anyone to get hurt, but get chippy with them and then keep it casual when the reps are around. And if you think if it's not going to work, then hey, back off, because the number one priority is don't commit penalties. But if we can if our defensive line can play rough and we can get them to commit penalties and we keep our sheet clean, that's a recipe for success, because short week is going to be tough on a lot of people. It's tough on us, but it's going to be tough on them, especially with their quarterback not feeling so good. Yeah. And their starting running back likely out in Kenneth Walker. So if they're already a little bit under stress and we can exacerbate that to me is a recipe for success. So baiting them into penalties, that's a bonus. If you have a good strategy for that, do it. But the number one thing, the actual note here is keep a clean game, for God's sakes. Because if we end up committing 50 to 100 yards worth of penalties, you're going to see momentum get sucked away.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. That's something that the 49ers have struggled with, and that could be the way that the Seahawks kind of even out that talent discrepancy, like I was saying. They can make it a game by doing that. I think that they'll be smart. And I liked Haywire earlier. He said an image of Fred Warner eating a turkey leg on Seattle's field will be burned in his memory for decades, and I liked that. That's what I want to see tomorrow.
That's what I hope. I hope that people in Seattle on Thursday will be weeping. I hope that they go to sleep with their ears ringing, because that's what we went through, and that's what I need in my life. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time to stuff our turkey with stufformations. I think it's time. Are you ready? Are you ready to
rumble?
get your turkey full of stufformations? All right, let's do this thing. First things first, I got to get the overlay up. Here we go. There we go. And let's get our music going. All right, here we go. So I'll let you kick things off. I think you already know how this works. Just find a player or a team executive or coach and say something nice about them. Encourage them. Make them feel good.
Sourdeath Sam.
I've watched this before. I love hearing it from the side. Okay, I'm gonna talk about Dre Greenlaw. Greenlaw, you're so strong. You're so physical. No one can get past you. No one can get past you. And I know you got your hands on that ball last week. And I know you're gonna get another one. And I know you're gonna hold on to it this time. And you're gonna hold on to it. And you're gonna look Gino in the eye, and you're gonna say, "Hey, pass it over here. Just pass it to me, okay?" And then you're gonna shake your head, and you're just gonna cradle it, and you're gonna say, "Thank you for this." And then you're gonna eat something. You're gonna eat some nice turkey, and it's gonna taste really good, and you're gonna feel really good about yourself, and you're gonna go, I didn't commit a penalty today, but I did hold the ball. I did hold it. I took it away. But I was a good boy, and I didn't commit a penalty. And I can go home with a full belly and feel really good about myself for an extended week.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Dre Greenlaw. All right, let's see. I'll just do an easy one. Jair Brown, welcome.
Oh, there we go.
Your
Oh, I should have done that. That was cooler.
It's mine now. Get your own. Jair Brown, the moment is here. You have arrived. It's the NFL. It's your rookie year. You're on a whale of a team. And you know that they're circling you, ready to target you. And I want you to know that we believe in you. And we know for a fact that you are the man to take this job and run. We believe in you. You can do it. And you will do excellent for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that was great. That was beautiful.
Thanks. Hey, thank you.
George Kittle. I know how much you love sticking it to the 49ers rivals. I know how much the history means to you. And I know that you know about that Seattle legacy. We talked about, a lot of guys don't know about that. You do. And it's going to be important for you to put up touchdowns, first downs. You're going to get the ball. You're going to block. You're going to do so good. You're going to get a gorgeous, nice kiss from your beautiful wife. She's always wearing the prettiest shoes. And then you're going to run out on that field with your tattoos. And you're going to have a great, great game. You're going to go, Travis Kelce, the guy that couldn't catch the ball? I'm the number one tight end.
Yeah.
You're going to put your fist up like this. I'm the number one tight end. and you're gonna go, bang, bang, Niner gang, and run off the field with a 49er victory, baby.
Very nice. Very nice. I love George Kittle. Speaking of things I'm thankful for, thank you for signing my battle axe to this day. One of the coolest things you've ever done.
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, no, I still have. It's the coolest shit I've ever had in my life. So shout out George Kittle. All right, I'll do one more. Let's do. I do them every time, but I'll do it again. Jake Moody.
Yes.
Love you, buddy. Hey, you're doing great. I have one note, just like sometimes your kicks are like a little scary. Like they kind of go, like they kind of like tease a little bit. But I know you're gonna straighten that out. Like I think you're just kind of like testing some dramatic kicks, kicks that sort of get the blood pumping, and that's cool. Like something different is always nice. But it would be sicker to just go through the middle. And I know you can do that. You're like the man, dude. And you are going to just not miss anything from here on out because you're the fucking man. And we picked you in the 3rd round because you're a G.
Yeah.
So thank you for what you do. It's very nice that you do that. And he just leans a little to the right. Hey, that's cool. It's natural.
Sourdeath Sam.
Does your sister have any affirmations?
Yeah, she says that she thinks that I'm gonna have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and she's so thankful for me. And she loves it when I'm around.
I couldn't agree more. And I'm very grateful for you for coming on. And
Okay. She's.
oh, there's another cat.
You want to come say hi?
Yes, sir.
Hi.
I swear I don't normally do this on my stream, so I just felt like it would be nice.
Well, it's 3 guests for the price of 1. This is lit. Hi, it's great to meet you. I'm Sourdeath Sam.
Wait, what?
If you would like to,
She can't hear a thing you're saying.
Oh, that's fine. I'm just playing to the crowd. If she would like to bet on sports, she should go to bit.ly/Sourdeath Sam.
We're excited.
Okay, perfect.
So excited. So is he. We all know where we're betting.
What's
We're so
what's his
excited.
name before we sign off? I need to know the name.
Delaney.
Oh, Delaney.
Denali.
Ah.
Denali. Just kidding.
Denali.
She
I thought it
just
was
yelled
like
at me.
Delaney Walker, but Denali like the truck or the city or the mountain. Is it a mountain or a city? I don't know. I'll Google
I don't
it
know.
later.
I'm
It's a cat.
You're gonna figure it out more than me.
Hold on, let me see. Well,
There's also a dog, but I feel like this square is very small, so I'm not gonna bring everyone in here.
that's okay. We, the show's about to end. I'm just really glad Denali was able to come in and celebrate with us. Let me see.
I felt like that was important to
Oh,
end it off.
Denali's a big hit. Axel thinks that's a vibe. Haywire thinks that's a vibe.
I gotta
And,
bring. I've never brought. This is a special treat for you. I've never even brought my cats on my show.
Dude, I mean, I think you just debuted some new characters. I think you should set up like 3 cameras and just like put them in little chairs. Yeah, and be like, what do you think, Denali?
Denali actually chases Tiger, and they just go like this all day.
Oh,
And then
that's
there's
cool.
one other cat that's old and just watches them and is like, I hate that both of you exist.
I feel like you should put one of them in like a Seahawks jersey and one of them in a 49ers jersey. And, like,
Yeah, and have
that's-
them duke it up.
Yeah, and that's how you can figure out who wins the game. Like the stupid
I love
dog,
that.
whatever, that knocks the
Yeah,
ball
yeah,
down.
with the Warriors.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't like that. I don't like that dog because it kept putting the ball in the wrong hoop for me. So
Oh, I'm
the
sorry
dog's
about
dead
that.
to
Are
me.
you not? Are you a Warriors fan or no?
I am a Warriors fan, but it kept putting
Okay.
it in the not Warriors bucket, and I wasn't a fan of that. At least whenever I saw.
Yeah.
If he changed his ways, then I'm a fan again.
I think he learned. I think he learned. Last
good.
time I saw it, he was still a Warrior.
That's all I can ask for. Ooh, Randy Daytona, great point. Horchata would have been a good name. That's a sick name for a cat, dude. Stealing that one. I'll give you attribution. Ashley, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for grinding this out with me. Was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm glad we were able to share Thanksgiving with you and your cats and your sister. And I'm wishing you nothing but the best. Please, please, please have an amazing Thanksgiving tomorrow. Have an amazing weekend, and enjoy this time with your family. It's what it's all about.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I hope you have a really great time with your family and everyone too. I'm looking forward to seeing all the pictures.
Yes, for sure.
I feel like
for sure.
you're always taking great pictures.
I'll be posting.
I'll see ya.
I'll be posting. But great to
Bye,
see
bye,
you,
bye.
and good luck. Send your good luck for tomorrow.
I will. Thank you. Bye.
No problem. Okay, let me take this banner off. We're over affirmations. It's done. It's time for me to sign off. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for spending your time watching Public Access with Sourdeath Sam. I'm really hoping for a victory tomorrow. We have a lot of trauma to squash. Let's squash our trauma together. Have a great night. Have an even better Thanksgiving. And I will see you guys next week.